Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today is the big day that we finally have the newest version of Wilson, named Winter Wilson by most people, it seems. This is the brand new Tyrannosaurus Rex from PNSO, and boy, did the wait kill me waiting for this one to arrive, because it is a figure that I have been very highly anticipating, and it's also a figure that's been kind of stuck in transit for quite some time. I think it's been sitting in New York for like 2 weeks, probably, maybe 2.5 weeks, somewhere in there, just not moving. So the anticipation was pretty much killing me, knowing that it could have arrived pretty much any day for the past 2.5 weeks. But luckily it is finally here now to take a look at, so the wait is officially over. But as far as the box goes, you can see the front of the box sports an incredible image of Wilson right there. Really nice, very large looking Tyrannosaurus Rex. We actually have a different style box than most of them. This is more of like that museum series line from PNSO. It's the type of box that you have probably seen previously on the other Wilsons, and then also quite a few other figures like their Mosasaurus and stuff. That's like this really like well made, very nice hard box. It's an unbelievably nice box for these figures and really amps up, I think, the overall quality and feel for the release, just giving it again that museum style quality, I think, with the box itself. Then down here on this side we have a PNSO logo as well as Dinosaurs Museum, Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex, 1/35th scale scientific art model. And then up here we also have some words as far as dedicated to Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex and every fighter who is brave enough to take on responsibilities in love and justice we trust. Very cool on the part of PNSO. And then once we flip it around, we have some very cool information here on the back, as well as a nice silhouette of the Tyrannosaurus, and then kind of an image right there showing the articulation in the jaw. So I am super excited to break this box open and take a look at it, so let's go ahead and do that right now. And then once the box is open, we booklet similar to the previous booklets that we've had from PNSO numerous times, except this is again the museum style version, which sports a much nicer kind of a book-like version. And once you open it up, look at that incredible image of Wilson right there, stretching the span of 2 pages. It looks absolutely awesome. Really nice image. And then you can continue to run through this. Unfortunately, as we're seeing here, there is a lot of stuff in Chinese that I am not going to be able to read, but we have another absolutely gorgeous image of the figure right there. And then as we move along, again, this time we have some English, so that is really awesome, so that the booklet now sports, again, Chinese and English, similar to all the usual booklets, but like, again, in more of a book style fashion, as opposed to that kind of fold out version that we get most often. And then we open this up and we have a beautiful image. Again, the artwork from PNSO is probably some of the best you'll ever find. And then look over here, nice little cameo over here from Aaron the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is really cool to see him kind of chilling down here in the corner. Again, lots of really nice images throughout this book. And then we continue through. We have a very nice image here of the skeletal structure of Wilson, of course. And then if we move even further into this, another incredible Tyrannosaurus image, sporting some feathers there on the back of the head, like some down type feathers. And that's something we don't actually see on the newest figure here, but I think it looks pretty cool regardless. That is actually present on one of the older figures from the PNSO line, the large vinyl Tyrannosaur. They actually have that same exact style feathering there on the back of the head. So that's a figure that is definitely worth seeking out if you are a fan of that look. And then we have another image yet again over here of a Tyrannosaurus, yet again sporting that kind of plumage there on the head, that like almost downy like feathering that is up there. Really cool. An absolutely awesome booklet on the part of PNSO. And then we have absolutely gorgeous Wilson himself right here before us, and man, is that one incredible looking Tyrannosaurus figure. That is just like absolutely breathtaking here in person. The paintwork, the sculpt, all the detail is so vibrant. These newer PNSO figures are really impressing me just in the detailing aspect. Like, PNSO has always released really nice, highly detailed figures. Like, that's never been a problem as far as the PNSO line goes. But what is really impressing me is the last maybe, I'd say probably like 7 figures, maybe 8 figures, somewhere in that range. That's probably not a very accurate count, but regardless, the last few, I've noticed how incredibly crisp the detail is as far as the actual figures themselves. Like, it really looks absolutely insanely nice on the figures. The scale detail is just so vibrant on all of the models, and that's just been so impressive, if you ask me, as far as like the overall appearance to the figures. It's just so much nicer than what you see on most companies currently. But again, this thing looks incredible. Not exactly matching up to the prototype as per usual. When it comes to a PNSO figure, you don't always get that kind of prototype look, but I feel like the paint application that we see here on this one doesn't need to match up to the prototype, because what I'm seeing here in front of me is unbelievably nice. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get a closer look at Winter Wilson right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, the detailing is unbelievable up here. Like, there is so much scale detail to be found on the head sculpt of this Rex. So many different varying sizes of scales, and just the in general texturing is off the charts gorgeous all over the head sculpt of this Rex. It is just unbelievable. Potentially the most highly detailed Tyrannosaurus Rex head sculpt that I may have ever seen. It really rivals other incredibly detailed Rexes like the Yuppie Chen Rex and everything. Like, there is just so much detailing to be found here on this head sculpt of the Rex. It is just mind-blowing for sure, and the paintwork as well is really nicely done. You can see many different variations of like lighter and darker browns, and like some blacks and everything, and they've even included like some nice light washes in certain areas. Like, you can see a nice light wash popping up here a little bit, and then up here in the snout it kind of creeps through some of those larger scales that you see up on the snout, and I think that light wash is really nice. You can also see it up here on the top of the head a little bit, but I think that was a really nice choice in the part of PNSO, and I think that in general it makes the entire figure have a little bit more of a realistic look and not such a flat appearance to the paintwork or anything. It really gives it some nice life and some depth to the paint. But you can also see the nostril is sculpted out right there on the tip of the snout. The area around the eye is nice and darkened with a black, and you can see the eye is painted with a red, then a yellow, and a black pupil. A really beautiful gloss coat is added to the eye as well. You can also see the teeth sticking out of the mouth here, and you can see that the teeth are almost crocodilian-like with the way that they're kind of inconsistently placed, like especially right here in this area. You can really see how it almost looks crocodilian, and I think that is a very cool aspect to the figure. Really, really beautiful addition to the Rex overall. Of course, you have an articulated jaw, and that jaw opens really wide. Like, that popped open really, really far, but you can see the jaw works really well. Like, it's not like something that opens and falls. It is pretty much able to articulate at any distance, so that is definitely a plus. Really nice articulation as far as that goes, and you can see the teeth here on the lower jaw are also sculpted and painted really nicely. The teeth, for the most part, don't look like they're sloppy or anything like that as far as the paintwork goes. You can see that the detail, especially if you look here at like that kind of skin flap here on the inside of the mouth, is really nice, and it also sports a beautiful gloss coat. Very nice realistic coloration in there as well. I absolutely adore the inside of the mouth of this Rex as far as like this detailing over here goes. You can also see like there's like a nice red wash that has been applied on the inside of the mouth. Actually, if we look up here inside the mouth here on the, wow, that is insanely highly detailed. That is super, super impressive, but you can really see the red wash right there. I'm not sure exactly if that's just to give some alternate color variation to the inside of the mouth, or maybe to insinuate some blood in there, because of course it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's definitely going to have some blood inside the mouth, even going back into the throat. Even though the light's trying to sabotage me, you can see how incredible that looks, and that gloss coat looks perfect as far as the way it's applied. You also have the tongue down here, which is sculpted and textured really beautifully, also includes that reddish wash, and you can actually even see right there, right on this tooth here, you can see a little bit of that red on the teeth as well, so it kind of, again, more so appears as though it's like a blood type of an effect on the inside of the mouth. Even over here, you can see again how beautiful that gloss coat looks, how insanely highly detailed the inside of the mouth is, and just how unbelievable this Rex is overall. And again, that jaw can open really wide, so it can create quite the dynamic appearance to the head, just letting out the largest roar, maybe going in for a large bite. Who knows, but it looks awesome. The eye is also painted really nicely over here, and yet again, you can see that very nice gloss coat. The paintwork on this side of the head as well looks exceptional, and I love the coloration, like the colors that they've chosen for the Rex. It's all very nice, very natural, if you ask me. Beautiful tones of color included. As we start to move back here into the neck, you start to see the very large, thick body of the Rex. It looks very thick in the neck region. Really beautiful scale detail, some nice stripes that run down pretty much the course of the entire body, but you can see them start up at the top of the head there, and then they're very nice and naturally applied. The paintwork is about as top-notch as you're probably going to find. You can kind of see like some movement a little bit, sort of like some wrinkles in the skin a little bit right there. As we move down here into the underside of the throat, you can see a few osteoderms picking up an alternate variation of the scales here on the underside of the neck. The skin texture in general right here looks really good. You could see a lot of movement kind of shown in the neck region of the Tyrannosaurus, some very large chest muscles right there bulging, which looks really, really cool. And you can also take note to the fact that there is a nice dark wash that's been applied to the Rex as well. More beautiful creasing right here because the Rex kind of has its head lifted up a little bit, so you can see some nice skin creases going on right there, which is 100% something that you would expect to see there. Beautiful transition from that brown to the lighter coloration here in the stomach region, and you can also take note to that darker wash in the stomach region, and that continues all the way down here onto the underside. But we have like variations of color, like really nice subtle changes in color, like a really light brown, almost like an off-white mixed with a brown right there. And the coloration of this just is so realistic. Absolutely loving the coloration of this figure. And then we darken here once we get to the arms. You can see a few more wrinkles there. Very small Rex arms like we would like to see. You can still see some musculature within those arms. Beautiful fingers. As we move down the course of the hand, you can see some scoots on the hands right there on the fingers, and then the nails are also sculpted out really quite nicely. Coming back into the body a little further, you can see some nice skin stretching off of the body here as that leg is pulling the skin back, stretching it. Very realistic looking detailing right there. Just looking at the body, you can see it is so thick and so muscular looking, like it is just a large animal, and that is 100% the way PNSO has portrayed this. And of course, that's pretty much how we expect our Rex to look at this point in time. It's the most modern and up-to-date look I would imagine you could say for the Tyrannosaurus, so PNSO nailed that appearance in perfect fashion. You can see the hip bone is present up here. You can see that the detailing as far as like the skin texture and everything continues to look incredible. Lots of really nice movement there as far as the skin texture goes, as far as like wrinkles and everything throughout the thigh and the way that the skin of the body is playing off of that area. Very large muscular thigh. You can also see some beautiful muscle tone within that thigh. Moving down here into the calf. The calf is massive right there. It looks so strong. This Rex is just so insanely muscular, and I love it. You can see the kneecap is present here on the front of the leg. Moving down into the foot does have some nice scoots down the toes. Beautifully painted nails with a white coloration. They sort of have a gloss coat, but not any type of a major gloss coat. You can see some nice variation of colors within the feet here. You can see like a mixture of a few different variations of browns, like a darker and lighter brown, and they kind of transition back and forth and look really nice as far as that goes. You can also see some variation in color within the nails as well, which is cool to see. It almost looks like there's like a little bit of a wash that's been included within even the nails. The dew claw is present back here. He's kind of hiding back there, but he's also painted quite nicely. Coming back up into the tail, we can see the skin stretching off of the tail again. Well, actually more so bunching up right here, because you can see some nice wrinkles due to this leg pushing back, kind of making that skin react that way. It looks really nice. The very beautiful striping continues to run down the course of the body all the way the entire length of the tail. The skin texture here on the tail looks great. A really nice transition there as we lighten the coloration from that little bit of a darker brown to a lighter coloration here on the underside. That is such a smooth transition. And then we move out the length of the tail. The tail looks beautiful. You have a really nice curve, but it's not anything major. It's almost straight, but you can see an ever so slightly curved tail, and it looks really, really good. And then looking over here at the opposing side, now we can see the Rex has its head turned to the right, so you can see kind of like some skin bunching up and wrinkling there a little bit in the neck region. It looks really cool as far as that detailing aspect goes. Continues all the way down here into the throat. You can pick up on the throat itself right there. Again, the paintwork continues to look super nice, really natural overall. Beautiful transitions back and forth between colors. The texturing of the skin as far as the scale detail and everything looks great here in the stomach region. You can see a few more osteoderms poking up here and there. Beautiful arm sculpt down here again, really nice and small, like we would expect it to be. Some more nice transitioning between darker and lighter tones of brown included in that arm as well. You can see some skin reacting right here due to the leg pushing into the stomach region, so it's kind of bunching the skin up in the stomach region right there. Again, some more creasing up here as we reach to the top of the hip area. The hip yet again looks really nice right there. The musculature is beautifully defined, but it's not overly defined in the thigh area. Pretty much as realistically sculpted as I would imagine you could get. Again, some nice creasing and some nice skin detail here in the leg as we move down the course of the leg. The leg has a nice bend to it as the Rex appears to be stepping, and also just generally you could see like a lot of pressure put on the legs of the dinosaur. Again, it's a big animal, so you could see how muscular those legs are to hold the immense weight of this Rex. The calf muscle looks really good over here, again nice and bulging, beautiful kneecap in the front right there, and then you have a really nice foot sculpt over here. Again, the beautiful scoots down the toes, very nice coloration, mixtures of lighter and darker browns within the toes, very nicely painted nails, and then we can again see the dew claw is present right there. You can also see the inside of the opposing leg now on this side. The coloration does darken as we get down into the feet. Again, you can see it goes from that lighter brown and then transitions to a nice darker brown on the feet, which looks really good. And then coming back up here, you can now see the skin stretching off of the body, again as that leg is pulling forward, really stretching that skin quite beautifully, quite realistically. And we see the rest of those really nice stripes on this side that run the course of the body. So nice and naturally applied, like they're just not any type of like overly thick paint or anything. It's just a smooth airbrushing that they've given the stripes there that look great, that run along the back of this Rex. The paintwork of this Tyrannosaurus is so good, so beautiful. And then here on the underside, some more really nice scale detail that pops quite nicely because of the dark wash that they've given it. You can see a cloaca back here, so it's nice and anatomically correct. Even the underside of the feet sports an incredibly nice textured appearance, and you can also see that the stomach region and everything as we lead out the length of the dinosaur all the way back up into the head looks great detail-wise, beautiful scale detail, really nice dark wash, gorgeous paintwork all over the place. So this Rex is easily one of the nicest Tyrannosaurus figures that I have ever seen and probably will ever see. PNSO killed it, and in fact I think saying that PNSO killed it might be an understatement because this Rex is unbelievably nice. As far as a size goes for our Rex, I'm actually going to turn Wilson around here so that I can try to measure heading out into the tail. So for a length from the tip of the snout into the tail, you were looking about 13 3/4 inches or about 35 centimeters, somewhere in that range. For a height, the highest point would be the tail because the head's kind of ducked down a little bit. So about 4 3/4 inches or around the 12 centimeter range. And if we bring Wilson back and take a look to the top of the head, you are looking at about 4 1/4 inches, maybe a little over, or about the 11 centimeter range. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you can definitely see next to these figures here, again, roughly the size. It's definitely sporting some pretty good size overall, but it's not as large, I would say, as the previous Wilson, although it's not too far off. So actually, for another comparison, there is the most recent Wilson up until our, of course, Winter Wilson that was released, and you can see a really good comparison between the two. Actually, they do look fairly similar in size. Of course, the previous Wilson is just positioned a little higher as far as the stance of the body goes, and the newer Wilson is just crouched a little bit. So actually, if we kind of put the two next to each other here, you can definitely see that as far as like a length department and everything goes, they are actually quite similar in size, which again, I think furthers the evidence of this being a fairly large figure overall and an incredibly nicely sized Tyrannosaurus Rex. And there is actually a little stand that comes with your Rex as well, just in case you have any balancing issues with it at some point. You can just position this underneath the chest to help it stand. But as far as this Rex goes, as of right now, there are no stability issues with this at all. It stands perfectly, even in that kind of crouched position with the Rex's head leaning downward. You would think it might be a little top heavy, but it actually is not. It stands perfectly, balances perfectly. But you have the stand there as well, just in case it doesn't continue to stand perfectly as time goes on. So this newest version of Wilson, Winter Wilson as he's been named, is unbelievable and without question my favorite Wilson so far from any of the numerous Wilson figures that PNSO has released up until this point. It is unbelievable. I think they've 100% perfected everything about this Tyrannosaur. As far as the overall very large, muscular, but somewhat chunky looking appearance, I feel like they nailed that look perfectly. Pretty much exactly resembling the way we believe Tyrannosaurus appears currently. And I feel like they nailed the detailing aspect picture perfectly as well, which has never really, again, been an issue as far as PNSO goes. They've always done a great job as far as the detailing aspects of their figures goes, but maybe it's just my mind playing tricks on me. Maybe it's just me continuously being so unbelievably impressed with PNSO all the time. The newer figures appear to have such beautiful, vibrant detailing that may have been present on the older ones, but maybe I just don't recall quite as nicely. But the detailing it jumps out at you so nicely. It's so beautiful looking. And they've, as always, hammered out an incredible sculpt sporting every ounce of detail that you would expect to find for the positioning of the body and the movement that is taking place within the Rex. They've nailed every aspect of the sculpt and the positioning of the body, the movement of the skin. Everything is picture perfect on this Rex. Detailing wise, this thing is just from another world. As far as the paintwork goes as well, I feel like it is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, really nice, very realistically painted, similar tones of color to a lot of the previous Wilson colors, but I feel like they've nailed the appearance of this one as far as the coloration goes. The paintwork is just so lifelike, such smooth transitions back and forth. They've expertly used a nice dark wash that's not overbearing. It's just nice and subtle, but looks, again, about as realistic as it gets. So PNSO has 100% succeeded in making potentially the best Tyrannosaurus Rex that you'll find on the market today. Unbelievable is pretty much all I can say about it, and without question, this is 1000% a gigantic recommendation from me if you are on the lookout for a Tyrannosaurus figure. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to Dan's Dinosaurs, where I purchased mine, so make sure you check the description, go buy yourself this unbelievable new Wilson from PNSO, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.